because a lot of times they're like at the top of mountains and places that you just can't even walk.
Can't get stable.
So,
Whoa!
Now that is a machine that'll go places.
the places you can't even walk
Okay,
machine.
that might be my new favorite. Welcome to the Sent and Bent podcast. You can tell it's serious. Chris's shades are up for sport mode.
And more importantly, we have a fleet of little teeny tiny equipment on the table. So
Most importantly, we have Davey here that set up the whole Mecalac situation with us, and he knows everything about Mecalacs, and according to the Sent and Bent podcast official statement, has the number one Mecalac dealer in the world.
Not a true statement.
He just had to come on for himself to slow me down a little bit on the gassing. I got a little excited. But you did text me. You're still the number one in North America?
Yes, we were rated by Mecalac the number one dealer in North America for 25 and 26.
nice. That's
All
solid,
right.
especially being in a tiny little town in the middle of nowhere in North Idaho.
Yeah, and not being an established dealer before. We were only construction and contracting business before using Mecalac.
Oh,
So-
nice. So you were the top in North America the first year you had your dealership?
More or less, yeah. We
Wow.
technically got our dealer contract in 2024.
Right.
And it was just as a service dealer. That's how we started because we didn't have the $2 million required to invest in inventory.
Right.
Wow.
And so we started as a service dealer. We already had a bunch of Mecalacs in our region, and just went out and worked on them and fixed them. And then eventually someone wanted to trade their machine in and get a bigger machine. And in order to facilitate that, we kind of had to be a real dealer. So Mecalac was like, well, I guess we should make you a full dealer now. And that same year, we sold our very first machine in July. Then I became a real dealer, and we sold 6 machines in December alone.
Wow.
So
Jeez.
You know, things like that just always kind of break my brain a little bit. Like in my head, sure, I know objectively that there's 300 and whatever million people in this country. And like, obviously, if you do enough math, you'll realize that there's a high demand for these sorts of things. But in my head, there's like 4 people in our entire state that would buy one of these. It just doesn't make sense to me that there's that many people that can just, but obviously.
I want one.
Yeah, you already have an excavator. You're not wanting one and actually going to Davey and buying one.
Well, you never know. You
Edwin's-
never know.
Edwin's dad really wants one too. That doesn't mean he can actually afford one.
he does. He came out and demoed a machine. I spent a day with him. He was like, this is awesome. I want to buy this machine. He's like, I just got to convince my wife.
It's going to be a hard sell.
Yeah.
He said, my pitch is that it's the last machine I'll ever have to buy. And it is
Yeah,
more or less true.
I've been hearing that pitch, though, since I was a kid.
from your dad.
Yeah, well, he had his backhoe, and that's what I learned how to operate on, I guess you could say. But yeah, I mean, machines, if you use them a lot, things happen, and you might need another one.
Yep, that's true.
But yeah, so that's Davey, and we've had the Mecalac. The Mecalac episode has not come out yet, but we've had it for a weekend, and I think that's all Ethan did this weekend.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I was actually
sure.
going to do other things, but then it got like abominably smoky, and I was like, well, air conditioned cab with air filters or sit in the house. Those are
Yeah.
my options.
Perfect excuse, Ethan. Perfect excuse.
Well, yeah, I mean, I actually did. I tried to do other things, but then I was like, wow, this smoke is really bad. I'm just going to get back in the Mecalac and rearrange some rocks.
Might as well, man. Might as well. How did you make this happen? And how did you, because you basically had it ready to go and you called me like just to get it across the finish line before we even knew about it, what you were cooking in the background.
Yeah.
So what was going on?
So it's been an idea for a long time. And when we first came on as a dealer, Mecalac sent their after sales guy to do some training with us here. And he was like, "Oh, you're in North Idaho." He's like, "Do you know these like grind hard guys?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, like I went to preschool with Will, and Ethan's mom was my teacher in Waldorf school, and blah blah blah." And he's like, "Oh my god," he's like, "That's so awesome." He's like, "You're right there," and he's a huge fan. And so from that point, it was like, "Oh, okay." Steve Slate is this guy's name, who's also a big part of making this happen. He kind of realized that now there's a direct connection to Mecalac between me and you guys. And especially with the mountain series, I think is how we were able to push and convince. It's like, hey, these guys are using an excavator, they're doing equipment work like more and more, not just building stuff and modifying stuff in the shop.
Right.
So Mecalac had reached out. They're like, hey, we want to make this happen now. We had just been talking about it for a long time. And they said, can you reach out? Can you like figure it out if we can do this? And that's when I called you. I was like, I'll do it right now. And miraculously, Edwin picked up.
I did actually.
That's amazing.
First try.
That's
I know.
amazing.
Yeah.
I did the classic send a text first
Yeah.
and then give you a call.
Well, I hadn't talked to you for so long. I was like, because I hadn't seen the text because I was driving, just assumed it was important. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. So it had been like not legally or like in a big corporate way in the works for a long time. It had just been like an idea between Steve and me, and you met the marketing manager, Moira Plouffe. She was also a huge part of making this happen. And she wanted me to tell you guys that she loves sparkling water and she drinks it all day. So,
Well, more importantly, though, you agree with me that kombucha is superior and brought me a kombucha. So that's way better than sparkling water.
true. I do
Sorry, Moria, if you're watching this. Sparkling water
Moya,
Yeah.
I'm here with you.
Mecalac, and given that it's French, like I think you could say without a doubt that as a business is powered by sparkling water,
Perrier.
which makes
Yes.
which is a very fine sparkling water. If we could get it a little more affordably around here, I'd run it. But
Yeah.
the way that Steven and I drink it, we'd run Grindhard out of business.
I want to say I'm truly underestimated the amount of sparkling waters you guys go through, because I had, for preparing for you guys to come pick up the machine, I bought a bunch of sparkling water.
Yeah.
And we went through like 12 cans in an hour.
Oh yeah, before we even left your parking lot.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then the rest of that day, it was just sparkling water after sparkling water.
Yeah.
I was like, holy cow,
You
these
should have
guys
seen
aren't
us the
fooling
day that
around.
we did Matt's off road. Like I even delivered Steven a sparkling
saw
water
that.
with the drone. Like everyone was talking about it. They're like, man, you like just actually do just drink those things, huh?
I remember seeing, like, I don't know how true this is. I don't remember the details behind it, but this YouTube video of this doctor explaining how sparkling water might actually be like beneficial, like to your brain function in some way.
And your built differentness.
Yeah. You have to look into it, but something about the carbonation and the your blood and getting there. I don't remember the science, but I was like, okay,
I don't even need the science.
Yeah.
I feel the difference. So.
Yeah.
that and fish, and you're super powered.
Oh yeah.
Fish
It's
power.
really a heck of a combination. So yeah.
With the whole process of getting you guys a machine, I was really blown away at how fast we got that done. I don't know if you.
Same.
We've
I was
been-
like, how? Yeah.
We've been gassed up for interesting things before, because what always happens is there's someone at the company that likes us and understands what we do, and then they reach out, make sure we're interested. We get all psyched. We come up with great ideas. Like, this is a great idea. Marketing director thinks it's a great idea. All these people think it's a great idea. But then by the time it gets to the higher ups, let's say like certain video games where everyone thinks it's a great idea for us to do something with the tank, and then the CFO is like, yeah, that's not a good idea. It's too risky. A lot of our ideas actually end with that exact reason.
Too risky. Yeah.
Which I could see Mecalac, like not knowing anything about the company at the time, being like, Davey thinks it's a great idea. Marketing director is like, we need some Instagram content. That makes total sense. They're good at that. But then by the time it gets to the person who matters, it's like, these guys are dangerous. What would the I guess we shouldn't say the brand specifically, but there was a brand that said, not for those Red Bull drinking long-haired daredevils.
What? You guys
was
don't
a-
even drink Red Bull.
I know.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
There was an actual brand. That is a direct quote.
A
Like,
direct quote.
we don't want to be associated with Red Bull long-haired Red Bull drinking daredevils. Actually, the long-haired part may have been added. I think they weren't being,
I think that was
hair
there.
prejudiced. I think it was just the Red Bull drinking daredevils
We'd
part.
have
But
to
either
dig
way,
up the email, but I
They
think
emailed that to you?
yeah.
well, it was forwarded to us because
Yeah.
it was like part of the conversation between the company and the middle person or who.
Yeah.
Right.
But still, we saw that.
So even when we were like doing the contracts and stuff, like at this point, Ethan and I are like not gonna get our hopes up until we load the machine on the trailer, because it's like we've gotten pretty far with some pretty big companies, let's say. Not anything in the heavy machinery space. We haven't even really got our foot off the ground, but in other spaces, like really big brands, like really cool projects, on the expensive side for sure. Otherwise we just do it ourselves, like if it made financial sense, we could just make Mecalac content because we want to, but when you get to that level, you can't really justify it on YouTube budgets,
Well,
like-
and the I don't want to talk about the legal parts, but the simplicity of the contract, I was so happy with how it turned up because I started with that. Like, hey guys, if we're gonna do this, like it has to be genuine from them. That's
Right.
the only, like, to me, like you can tell when the content isn't genuine and it's
Yeah.
just like you're being sponsored to say this sentence.
Totally.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you guys, it's just, you're already genuine people. So just let them use the machine and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Well, and we already specifically have an obsession with heavy equipment and
Yes.
like
When
Hey, wait a minute. You're not the only
I'm
one.
just speaking for myself. I'm not saying I'm the only one. I'm not speaking for anyone else, but
Chris is like, I've been dreaming of excavators 2 decades before you
yeah,
were
before
born.
he was even
yeah.
behind his
Yeah.
daddy's ear.
well, behind
What?
his ear.
That doesn't okay.
Yeah, what does that
I don't
mean,
think that's how
Chris?
that works, but
It also helped that Ethan already knew what Mecalac was
right.
Yeah.
and was already really interested in the concept.
Yeah.
Because there's no normal people that I've found that are like really interested and understand the Mecalac concept.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's like we were talking about it the other day when you were up here when we brought the Mecalac up. Like the only people making any content with Mecalacs or really any heavy equipment on the internet is contractors that are already doing the work and then just posting short
Right.
videos of it happening. Which is cool because like that it also makes sense. Like you already own the equipment. You're not going to go and buy a Mecalac to make an Instagram reel, obviously no one's on that level. I mean, I guess Mr. Beast is, but you don't get Mr. Beast level views with a Mecalac either. But
Last to leave the Mecalac cap.
Wins
I'd be more interested in Mr. Beast if he was doing that. But
Should send him an email.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's just there's nobody that's just, a YouTube channel doing other things or just like a regular, I mean, obviously because of the cost of a Mecalac, like they haven't been around long enough to be like a good used market. If there was, I'm sure like random people like me, like for example, I already own a skid steer. That's got nothing to do with the channel. It's like I bought it because I felt like it was the best overall piece of machinery I could afford. So if Mecalacs had been in the United States for the last 30 years, I could get a 30-year-old Mecalac and I probably would already have one.
It's true in
But-
Poland.
Yeah.
Look at Mecalacs in Poland. You can get one for like 10 grand.
Nice.
Yeah.
Really?
Older ones.
Yeah,
older
yeah.
ones. Well, and it's Poland. They have a completely different economy. But
Right.
because Mekalac's been making machines, branded Mecalac, since the 80s, the early 80s. The first production Mecalac was the 11CX.
And what is the concept for people? Because they haven't seen ours yet. Like you said, it takes a special person to be interested in the concept.
To
Like,
understand.
Yeah. So what, but what is the concept? Like what does separate
Yeah.
it? Because for like, if you just look at it, it's like a combination of a few things, but like,
Yeah, so especially in Europe where they have smaller job sites and they can't really afford or like realistically have multiple pieces of equipment on a job site. It's a lot less realistic.
You can't just trailer in a low boy into the middle of the city in South France.
And even if you do, if you have a mini excavator and a little wheel loader or something like that, you still have machines idling some of the time, right? You have your excavator and it goes in and digs the trench, and then maybe your wheel loader is moving material or backfilling, whatever. Mecalac wanted to make a machine that idled as little as possible. They wanted to make one machine that you could take to the job and do everything with it.
Right.
And that's the whole idea. And in practice, it works really well. In my opinion, it's the only combination machine that really like excels at everything it does. Like it's,
Absolutely.
if you're comparing it just digging to an excavator is only designed to dig. So it's going to dig better. But a backhoe kind of sucks at digging.
Yeah.
And you can't
Very
rotate.
we were
so.
talking about this the other day. Backhoes
yeah.
are terrible at everything.
Yes. They
And
are.
that's like it's a good comparison because it's the opposite end of the spectrum of making a multi-purpose machine. I learned to operate on a backhoe and a dozer, and I love the dozer. I hated the backhoe. Even when
They're
I was like
horrible.
16 and I was like, getting paid to run a backhoe, I was like, this thing is stupid. Because you can, like, let's say you're digging a trench. You dig 10 feet of trench, and then you have to pick up the outriggers, pick up the bucket, drive forward 10 feet, set it all down, turn your chair back around.
Wait, you got to turn your chair around to drive
You got to
forward.
turn your chair around in the first place. It's just terrible. And like at no part of its operation is it good at any of the things
No.
it does. The front end loader part, like, yeah, it can load, but like it's not even really good at that because the front wheels are barely touching the ground because the backhoe weighs so
Turning
much.
radius sucks.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a great video from like the 80s of like one of the original Mecalacs, like similar to the 12, and they have it versus a backhoe doing a bunch of different tasks, and they're like trenching, and the Mecalac beats it at trenching, and then they do like the backfill, and the Mecalac, of course, is faster at backfill, and then they're loading a truck, and the backhoe has a bigger bucket volume, but the Mecalac can scoop into the pile, spin, dump it into the truck. It doesn't have to move. It stays in one spot, scoops, spins, dumps. The backhoe has to go in, scoop, back up, turn, load it into the truck.
And even comparing it to a more modern tool like a skid steer, it's still more efficient at loading than a skid steer. Like what you were saying and what I was getting at with my comparison to a backhoe is like it's actually better largely at both things than the thing that's dedicated for it.
Right.
Like you said, like excavator, sure. If you have just a dedicated excavator
And you're only digging.
and you're only digging trenches, yeah, you can dig faster. But
It's
who owns an excavator and only digs trench?
Well,
like not very many people.
and the crazy thing is, and I say, as soon as you get to anything else, like the backfill's way faster.
Right.
And have you ever had to track across a job site? Yeah. Okay. Well, the Mecalac is twice as fast as like any tracked excavator.
Right.
I guess I shouldn't say that with confidence, but it is the fastest tracked excavator production ever made.
Right.
And it's like twice as fast as pretty much everything else in its class, which is insane.
Yeah.
There's just nothing that comes close. So as soon as you're like, oh, I have to track a little bit, it's like, oh, that's cut in half. And to me, just the track speed difference is worth the cost difference.
Right. But then also like what I was getting at with the skid steer thing is like you don't have to physically turn around the machine. You just scoop out of the pile, spin the cab around, and dump. So like, I mean, I get why it was designed in Europe because that's way more of an issue there. Like here, everything's big and we have space between things and you're going a long distance, but still like just not having to tear up the ground as much with turning around. Because skid steers, sure, they can spin in a circle and do it very, very quickly. But unless you're on concrete, it tears the ground to like
Well, and
just
if
you
you're-
dig a
Even
hole
if you are
basically.
in concrete,
You're tearing
doing
up
so
your
much
tracks.
more wear
Yeah.
and tear.
Exactly, you're tearing up
So,
the tracks.
Yeah, skid steer tracks usually last like 1,500 hours. Mecalac tracks, it varies a lot depending on how the use is, but I've seen them last over 3,000 hours regularly because every motion you do in a skid steer to reposition yourself, you have to turn. You're wearing out your tracks.
Everything. Well, like that the Temu grapple thing we put on there. That's a perfect example of how like you can do a lot of things with a skid steer, but it's terrible at it because just to move the grapple over a foot, you have to turn the entire machine.
Yep.
You can't just like, oh look, let me just reach over. No.
And once you grab your scoop of material in a Mecalac, you can spin around the machine in like the same work. Almost, it sticks out a little bit,
Right.
but in almost the same working width. If you look at the I think it's a 308 there, you can see.
Yep. 309.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So the same
I
size
was gonna
as
say, I
that.
think
They're
that's a
both the same
bullet.
scale
Right.
model, by the way.
Yeah. Like, look at, you can't, that's as close as you can get with your bucket to
Yeah.
the, well, okay. I guess if you swing the boom sideways,
Yeah.
it still sticks out like
So
massively far.
an interesting fact is that the Mecalac 8 MCR has the same 360-degree spin radius, like with the bucket tucked in, as a 2.5 ton machine when it's fully tucked in.
Which is basically a
Wow.
quarter of the size capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the bucket capacity is, I think Mecalac says like it's on average like 77% more bucket capacity than machines in its size class.
Because of the skid steer bucket.
Yeah. Even if you just compare the digging buckets,
They're still a lot bigger.
yeah,
Wow.
they're most of the time the biggest production digging buckets in their size class. So like offered by the
By the
company.
brand. Right,
Yeah.
right.
I'm
Not
sure you
including,
could get
not
an
including
aftermarket one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And because of the unique boom geometry and everything, it allows you to do things like use it as a forklift. And
Right.
you can put forks on a normal excavator. There's just not a lot of ways you can position it well. And
Yeah.
the cylinders aren't really designed for lifting in that way either.
Right.
Um,
I haven't had a chance to use the forks yet because I just have, obviously out here we're not doing a whole lot of moving pallets, but I'm excited to use that because like just being able to do, I was talking about it this morning, like it's really a shame we didn't have the Mecalac when we built this shop or the addition to my house because there's so
Yeah.
much time spent trying to get my skid steer to reach high enough. Like for these
Trying
beams,
to make it lift. Yeah.
the beams we put up in the shop here, we put the forks on it and then we had like a 10-foot extension boom thing that went on the forks. And even still, it had to be like bucket all the way up and tilted all the way back. And it just barely got it high enough. The Mecalac just would have lifted it
like
straight
nothing.
up.
Or
Yeah.
the car lift, so easy.
Oh,
One
standing up
strap,
the
yoink,
standing up the
done.
posts of the
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's in the US, since a lot of people have never really seen or ran one of these machines, when they first encounter them, they're kind of like, oh, it's like a skid steer and an excavator combined. And then they think of all the other combination machines they've ever seen and how much they kind of suck.
Like
They're
a backhoe.
Well, there's no way it can be that good. Like
Right.
the only way people really get it is once they start running it. Like there's just so many things you can do that you can't do in a traditional machine. It's really hard to understand.
Yeah.
But what are the design principles, like the key point, simple, like people listening on Spotify that aren't even seeing our little toys here, like what are the key like different design principles that make it what it is? Because I've heard you guys talk about a lot of stuff, but like what is like the physical differences here?
The biggest Mecalac innovation, and this has been true since the 11CX in 1984 and the prototypes before that, is the boom. And that's what really allows all the other benefits. So first, it's a two-piece boom, which traditional excavators have mono booms. There are traditional machines, especially in Europe, two-piece booms are pretty popular, but they're not the same as the Mecalac. That cat-wheeled excavator has a more traditional two-piece boom. The Mecalac boom allows it to fold way back, all the way next to the cab like that, which puts all your weight centered in the machine. So it's the most stable boom design because you're putting all your weight back instead of in a traditional
front of you.
mini.
Yep.
It's all in front of you all the time. So if you're trying to lift even close to the machine, you're fighting all of the force and weight of your boom. The Mecalac, when you fold this back, all of that is counterweight.
Right. Everything but the bucket itself, basically, in the very end of
Right.
And since
And
it is so
then-
much faster, when the boom's weight is back there, you can actually use the speed comfortably.
Yes.
Where if it was hanging out in front of you and you were going 6.5 miles an hour,
Yeah, try to imagine, Edwin, you've driven the big excavator that we have up at the mountain right now. That thing probably only does 2 miles an hour.
You
Uh,
would never
if you-
actually go 6.
Even with the bucket empty, if you tried to go that fast,
Yeah.
you would just like every time you hit a bump, you'd just
Yeah.
And the amount
bounce.
of easing you'd have to do to slow that thing down without just, ugh.
That's something I was really impressed with after running the Mecalac for a few hours is that generally, in my experience, foot controls for your track speed on excavators is not a thing you want to do at any speed. Like the big excavator we have up there, if you're using your feet and you hit one, unless you have it just jammed to the floor, full speed, if you want to like go anywhere in between that, which jammed to the floor is not very fast, but let's say you're going down a steep hill, it does get going pretty quick. If you let off a little bit and hit a bump, the unintentional inputs from you bouncing in the cab are horrendous.
Yeah.
And you have to just take your feet all the way off the pedals and just stop and reset. The Mecalac does not do that. They have those controls fine-tuned. Like you can be going 6 miles an hour in that thing, go over a bump, slow down, and have your feet like halfway on the foot pedals, and it doesn't, whatever they built into the controls, they did it right because like it doesn't, it takes out those unintentional inputs that you're doing with your feet.
Right.
I don't know how they did that, but it's very effective.
And as I was saying about the boom.
Yeah, sorry, we distracted.
Yeah, we
no,
sidetracked.
you're good.
Go
No,
back to get your weight in a better position.
Which is the reason they can travel so fast. So any excavator manufacturer essentially could put this drive system. It's a hydrostatic drive. It's similar to a skid steer's drive system. They could put that in an excavator.
Right.
It just wouldn't be stable enough. So they tune those speeds to the maximum that the excavator can be stable driving, not to the
what
max.
it's physically capable of.
Yeah. And Mecalac taking it and putting it all back there. And also the whole design of the machine brings the weight lower. They just thought from the ground up, basically. It's like, I don't know. It's such a cool company to me because they're like one of the most innovative construction companies for a long time. And they've been innovating for more than 50 years. They've just always like had their mind set on making like the most versatile and capable machines, not just copying what everyone else does. They truly went from the ground up and said, how can we make a machine that does all these things?
Right. Well, and another key difference is the quick attach system, which, like we were talking about the other day, proprietary attachment systems are really stupid unless they're actually better in every way.
Yep.
Which, as far as I can tell, the Mecalac system is. And one of the coolest things about it is being able to easily reverse your buckets. Do you know? I'm not like versed in the heavy equipment world enough. Is there any other like commercially available system that can even do that? Like spin it around and
Yeah, a lot of systems, it's more popular now to be able to flip your bucket around. There's a lot of like standards like OpenS, and that's reversible. But
they're all, are they all aftermarket things for, or some of them are come on the machine?
There's a lot of companies now that have like a agreement to use this standard attachment style,
right?
So that it's better for everybody.
Yeah,
which I think is awesome, but
totally,
it's not as good as it can be. And the other really cool thing about the Mecalac Connect is what it's called, is on a normal hydraulic quick attach, the quick attach system pins on to the end of your boom, just like a bucket would in the old days. And then you lose 8 to 12 inches further away from your boom that your bucket attaches. The further you push that point, the more breakout force you lose.
Right.
And
you're just changing you're putting a longer arm on the end of your lever.
Right.
Yeah.
Not on the part of the lever you're pushing on, but the part that you're trying to do work with.
Right. So that's kind of like one of the downsides why you see a lot of like bigger excavators or machines that just have mostly digging buckets. They'll have a manual pin-on system because it's more efficient for breakout force and stuff.
Right.
And obviously, even with the Mecalac when you're adding weight, but it essentially the idea is you take that same manual pinpoint and instead of pushing it down, you just squeeze those pins together to grab the hooks.
Mm-hmm.
And they also designed it so if your attachment, if you like decouple midair somehow,
which you'd have to try very hard to do.
Right. But in Europe, they're big on safety, of course. So it just doesn't fall off. Yeah. It can swing on those hooks, and you'll see it in like the Mecalac demo videos. And it won't fall off essentially, which is, I think, really cool because you can use that if you're just moving your buckets around and you don't want to like hook onto one completely. You can just grab a bucket without like squeezing in and latching onto it.
Right.
And then they also thought of this really cool thing where there's a little spike, I guess, on the buckets. So you can take the skid bucket cutting edge and pick up your digging buckets and carry them around with you.
It's something so simple, but nobody else is doing it.
Yeah. Well, and it's like most companies would just stop and be like, all right, this is good enough. Let's sell it, make some money. Mecalac just keeps going. How can we make this better? How can we make this better?
And
And
we've only had it for what, 3 days that I've been here and we've had it. And just, I saw Ethan doing that, having the big 1 yard bucket on, and he had the other digger bucket just hooked to it. And everything I've seen about it, everything I've seen it move, it's like, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
That makes sense.
It's that little spur, that little dew claw on the bucket.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And you can carry, I've carried 3 digging buckets around before with the skid bucket. Like normally you'd have to go back and forth if you're doing a job
Or
on your
like
property.
strap them into the bucket, or like you
Right.
could try to. Well, I mean, what other excavator has a skid bucket that you could pick up? They don't. But
Exactly. Or you
well,
have a thumb and you can
with
grab
yeah,
it.
you could have a thumb. You could
grab
pick it
it,
up
you
with the
know?
thumb,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
then you're limited to like basically one if you're doing the thumb thing. I mean, that said, I have seen more attachment companies that do tilt rotators are now offering smaller skid buckets
Yes.
that go with them. They're really light duty, so they're not largely so they don't overpower the weight
They're
class
they're
of the
called
machine.
grading buckets.
Yeah.
They're used for grading.
Yeah,
they're
well,
for like
and
not for
material
digging.
handling.
Moving material.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're not.
loose material, but they're not made for digging.
If you pair whatever biggest one of those buckets is with the whatever 10-ton machine, it's still going to be a lot smaller in capacity.
Totally.
The 10 MCR is a 1 yard skid bucket.
Right.
Well, 0.98, but
So put a little extra in
yeah,
there. It's
exactly. And it's still so crazy to me that like I want to try taking another 10-ton machine and just putting like a Mecalac bucket on it and see how it handles it.
We have a 11-ton machine at the
Yeah.
mountain. We can do that.
yeah,
If you want to
if we
do
can
it,
hook
we
it
can
up.
do it
Yeah.
tomorrow, man.
We just have to make it. I mean, it just has a regular pin-on bucket. It doesn't have any sort of
Right.
quick attach. So we'd have to make some adapters. But
It would just be
be
crazy to
entertaining.
see. Like, obviously, there isn't really an option for that. So I imagine it just doesn't work, or doesn't work well. But like, even so, the boom's folded back. You have all that good weight centered, and you can have a full skid bucket. But then you can still reach that bucket
dude,
out
I've
so
reached
far.
it as far as it goes
Yeah.
with a like half full bucket of dirt with over the side, and it still picks it up.
Yeah. Like, I understand a lot of design principles about Mecalac, but some things still just kind of seem like magic to me. Like, how is it that a normal excavator with an empty bucket feels unstable, but a Mecalac with a bucket that's over 1,000 pounds empty, you fill it full of dirt and you can reach out and not tip over?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, eventually you'll get to a point where you can like really get the machine light, but it's just physics at that point.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and like I've messed around with that in the few days that I've been running it, and like it's crazy stable compared to a much larger machine.
Yep.
That should be more stable. But it also, I think, I mean, you'd have to put them side by side, but I think the 10 MCR has as much or more reach as it feels like it anyway. It may not be actually more, but like it doesn't feel like less
yeah.
reach.
Usually the working range of the Mecalac is about the same as excavators in its same size class. But what that means in practice is that you don't get quite as much reach, but you can also reach and effectively work a lot closer to the machine.
Right.
Because like I've said with the wheeled excavators, which is what we originally ran, we had our first Mecalac was a 9 MWR. And
So this one right here.
yep, that is what changed how I think about all equipment running that machine, and it kind of makes running anything else suck, or at least anything else in that class.
Right.
And I was able to connect a trench underneath the machine, so dig halfway on one side, spin around, dig the other half on the other side. And if you've ever had to connect two trenches together with a normal excavator, it really sucks because you can't. First of all, your offset can't get out of the machine width, which it can in a Mecalac, and like you just can't get the right angle to get that last
the right
dig.
angle is never right.
Yeah, it sucks. And
You
the
always end up with
Mecalac-
like a double wide trench
Yeah.
where you're trying to connect it.
But then you start thinking differently when you have a Mecalac. You're like, wait a minute, I can reach underneath the machine and dig underneath the machine. And you got to be careful. Like, it's not a machine for a careless operator because it allows you so much flexibility with the boom that it is possible to touch the machine
In a lot of ways.
yeah, that other machines can't. And that's, some people have those complaints, and it's really a machine for someone who
is paying attention.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and once you learn it and you understand its limits, like if you get into Mecalac for the first time and then you're like, I'm gonna go full bore 100%, I'm gonna dig as fast as possible, then you're probably gonna, you're more likely to ding something.
Yeah, you're gonna catch one of your tracks with the bucket or the blade or whatever.
That's a side effect of
being
having a machine that's so mobile. If they limited it so you couldn't touch the machine, it wouldn't be as flexible.
Totally,
you couldn't reach in those places, and you can reach straight up with a Mecalac, and you can reach straight down underneath it and straight out, and you get so many crazy combinations. Like you can get the skid bucket right up against the tracks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so curious about that part of the story, is how you found out about it and got into it, because it's such a unique thing. And also you're really young, starting a business, and you thought it was worthwhile to get the more expensive option. I just we know bits of your story, but for the people listening, like what you're fresh out of school and you're like, I'm going to do this very expensive to start snow removal, tree site prep business. Like, how did that work?
So what happened is after high school, I went and traveled the world, and I traveled the country. I built my own custom JDM camper van, and I built the engine in that and did the inside of it and traveled the country and worked a bunch of different random places, and then traveled to Europe.
What kind of gigs were you doing?
I worked at a dealership called Lifted Trucks in Arizona.
Yeah.
That was fun. And I just did like odd work, handyman jobs, and doing maintenance on people's cars and anything I could get.
So
really.
you were wrenching.
Yeah. I mean, more or less. I mean, most of it, the goal was just to travel. And if you're doing it right, you can travel for really cheap, especially when you have a camper that's self-sufficient.
Yep.
Yep.
And then my brother lives in Denmark, so I would go over there, visit him, and then travel Europe while I was there. And Eastern Europe's really cheap. And kind of seeing how they did things differently over there was pretty inspiring. And be like, oh, okay. Like the American mindset is like, well, we've been doing it this way for 50 years and it works. So I'm going to keep doing it this way.
Yeah.
And so actually while I was traveling, I was in Croatia, and my friend gave me a call, and he said, hey, I'm thinking about starting this excavation business, and I think you'd be the perfect person to like be a partner for. I was like, okay, cool. So the day after I got back from Europe, we did our first job.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we rented a machine and did a job. And then after that, we got a job doing a road build and doing site prep and all this. And that's when I really got like, wow, running equipment is a lot of fun, especially excavators. Just being the all-powerful arm, like it was like, okay, I like this. And then we found the Mecalacs, and we were just like, what the heck is this thing? And we started thinking about all the possibilities, because we're young. We hadn't done this kind of stuff before. We don't have, like, our parents didn't do this kind of stuff. So we didn't have any mindset of this is the way that you have to do this work.
Right.
We just went, oh, here's a machine where we can do earthwork, we can do forestry work, and we can do snow removal in the winter. Because one of the big problems is you buy an excavator, what is it doing in the winter? Well, it's sitting there and you're paying for it.
Yeah.
So even though the machine's more expensive, just the fact that it can be working all the time,
right?
That was what made it for us. And that's why we picked the wheeled machine, because we kind of had that thought too. It's not a very American thing, but the wheeled excavators are really popular in Europe, and for good reason.
Did you already have contracts to like plow out people's parking lots in the winter or something? Or were you just assuming that the work was going to come to you if you had the machine?
We did have some contracts, and we had a plow truck, and we rented a skid steer and whatnot. And
okay. So you were renting at the time just to get whatever odd job
we knew
done.
we needed a Mecalac, though. That was like our goal from the beginning. We were like, we have to get a Mecalac. And I think it took less than a year. No, maybe it was a little over a year for us to get our Mecalac. And when we did, it just changed everything. We got it in the winter. We put the plow on it. We start plowing with it. It's like, wow, this is like better than a loader, because you can go in, you can spin around, you can like back drag the corner of parking lots. You can like, it's so tight. You can get into places and you can push berms up way better. It's like, it's a lot.
Oh, for berming, it's
everything.
amazing.
Yeah. And you can plow offset. Like you can plow over here if the ground's softer. If you don't want to drive on the shoulder of the road, you can like bring your boom over and plow over here. And it's just, Like it's the downside.
I really want to try that with the snowblower this winter.
Yeah.
Because I have a giant snowblower for the skid steer, which will go on the Mecalac.
Yeah.
And then be able to like snowblow off to the side of the road without being in the ditch.
Yeah. Really, the only downside is it's more complex to operate.
Right.
I mean, you can't get all this versatility without adding complexity. But once you become a good operator and you're good at it, it's like nothing else. Like nothing competes.
I mean, having run one for parts of 3 days, like it doesn't take that long to get used to the extra. Also, they did a really good job of making it all selectable.
Yeah.
So that if you like, you can do exactly what you want. Like, for example, the extra articulation in the boom that it has, the extra piece in there, you don't have to use it separately. You can, but there's a switch, and then you can use it, and then it doesn't feel any different than a regular excavator. So like you can dumb it down and use it exactly like a regular excavator and like a regular skid steer too.
Yeah. If you haven't even run a skid excavator before, you can still use it like a skid steer.
Yeah, flip
and
a
then
switch and it runs like skid
you
steer.
can increase the complexity slowly as you get more comfortable.
Right.
Which is another cool thing. I don't know, I'm sure it's possible now, but other 2-piece boom excavators normally don't have that coupling mode, I believe, which is what it's called, which couples the dipper stick and the adjustable boom so it moves like one.
Right.
But most of the time it's just a foot pedal, which it is in the Mecalac too.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did that, and then we were able to start getting into the forestry work we wanted to do. Like if we would have bought a machine for snow, like a loader or a skid steer, then we couldn't do the forestry work we wanted to do in the same way.
Right.
And the Mecalac excelled at that because it has really good hydraulic flow and it has separate pumps for the different actions. So your travel circuit, and this is true on the track machines too, is its own pump that is a closed circuit in the travel loop. So what that means is most skid steers, when you start tracking, you pretty much lose all your upper carriage power.
Most excavators.
Most excavators, yeah.
And skid steers.
Well, no, skid steers are separate.
Yeah.
Because they're designed to be driving forward while using the bucket.
Correct.
So they're separate loops. Every skid steer I've ever run anyway.
But like we had to do a mulching job with a different 910 excavator because ours was busy, and it had the exact same mulching head on it, exact same size class machine, and it sucked. First, we had to like walk it like half a mile, and it takes like an hour
to go half a mile.
Well,
Yeah.
Not really, but
No,
it feels like an hour.
Feels like it.
And it's so uncomfortable. And second, when you're using the mulching head, it takes all the auxiliary flow. So the second you turn that head on, you can't really track. You can barely lift the arm up. And the Mecalac just has so much more power and the way it's all tuned.
Yeah, and even if you're using most of the engine's power and the whole system's bogged down a little bit because of that, you can still, each separate system has its own pump, so it can still run them all together. Like, for example, if you're tracking at full speed and if you were also running, say, a snowblower or a mulcher at full capacity, like both would slow down, but they'd slow down together like a little bit, not like
if the engine lugs.
Yeah, if the engine's lugging down. Yeah. Like
the other crazy thing to me is that Mecalac's 6-ton excavator has 74 horsepower. Like, they had to do that to get the skid steer capability. But if you're comparing it just against other 6-ton excavators, which most are like around 40 to 50 horsepower range, maybe the top is like 50 something
right
on like stock production ones, it's just insane that they fit that much power in a machine that small. It's still super compact. And it's still super accessible to like get to your maintenance items and get to the engine and get to the valves and everything. It blows me away.
I haven't run any of the other ones because, you talked them into getting us the 10 MCR, which is, of the tracked ones that are sold in this country, the big daddy one.
Big beastie.
But what's crazy is that the other ones have basically the same horsepower. They have less torque, right?
Correct.
A little bit less torque. But like that thing is ridiculously powerful. It's hard to imagine that much power in like half the size of machine.
It is a little different in the 6 because the way they tune them, like 6 has a smaller engine.
Right.
It's still Deutz. It's a 2.9 and it has less torque. So I think it's about 100 foot-pounds less torque and smaller hydraulic pumps, but it still has that horsepower level, which is what you need to have no def. The other crazy thing is those Mecalacs don't have like the DPF system or regen either.
Right.
Which even machines that are like 40 horsepower have that sometimes.
Oh, it sucks.
His Kubota 040 has that.
Yeah.
It doesn't have DEF, right? But it does have the
What sucks
DPF.
about it,
and
Chris?
you can't do anything with it when it's in that mode. You know, you can track a little bit and you can move the boom a little bit, but there's no auxiliary, there's no thumb, there's, you know, it totally limits everything.
Yes.
And you have to throttle it up all the way, you know, is what they recommend, and then sit there and wait for it.
And burn fuel.
And sometimes it's 10, 12 minutes.
Wait,
Yeah.
what is this for?
It's
Regen.
for the DPF, so the diesel particulate filter.
It burns it off.
When it decides it needs to,
So it's just for
Emissions.
emissions.
Yeah.
and then
like
yeah,
So
and
you
when
can
it
run
decides,
at full throttle to help emissions.
well, it's not to. So the DPF is Edwin. The DPF is there all the time. It stands for diesel particulate filter. It's filtering
Okay.
out the particulates.
Yeah.
Well, at random times, any engine with DPF will just decide it has some sensors that determine that the DPF filter is full or plugged up. So it goes into what they call regen mode, which is a really
Regen.
silly way to phrase it. It makes it sound much more exciting
yeah,
than
like
it is.
an efficient Tesla
Yeah,
situation.
but
It's
then
more like it's more like reject.
Reject, yeah. But it goes into regen mode, and then it runs the engine at a set RPM for a set amount of time, and it like does other things as well. But it basically burns it really, really hot, so it gets into that filter and cooks out all the particulates it's put in there.
Oh, geez.
Which then, and I mean, I'm not claiming to know the science. I'm sure there are reasons that it's better than those particulates going out in the first place. But you're just then burning them and ejecting them all out the exhaust pipe at the end of the day. Anyway.
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
also it's a fire hazard. So especially when
Oh.
you're working in dry areas, I've known people who had machines that machines burned down or caught something on fire around them because of the regen, because it gets the exhaust so hot.
Especially in forestry.
And then it's probably
Yeah.
blowing like bits of
Yeah.
flaming, like little sparks of debris out.
And to be fair, most machines have a button that you can disable the regen if you're in like dry areas and stuff, but
Sure.
it still has to regen at some point or else it goes into like limp mode,
Right.
which just sucks. But somehow like German engineering with the Deutz engine, they figured out how to make it emissions compliant without that stuff and have a ton of power. Like these engines are detuned from the factory.
Right.
So they're like not running at their full potential, which means they're going to last longer most of the
Totally.
time.
Yeah.
Like the engine in the 10, that same engine is the one that's in the 15, and that has 136 horsepower.
Wow. Yeah, that's
Wow.
so it's basically double the power in that other machine, double the horsepower anyway.
Almost, yeah.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah.
while bypassing this whole regen situation entirely.
Well, when you get over 74 or 75 horsepower, you have to have DEF. You have to have all the emission stuff. That's why the Mecalacs are like under the 12 ton.
so
they're
they're-
all 74
they're
horse.
all geared up for torque.
Yes.
They're tuned for torque
Yes.
right up until the point where you'd need to add all that stuff.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So then the bigger machines do unfortunately have all that stuff.
Because you
but
just have to
you,
get
you-
that
you
much
can't,
power.
Yeah, absolutely.
No way around it.
Yep. Yeah. What's crazy is like granted by scale or by weight class, it's not really that big of a difference because it's an 11 ton versus a 10 ton. But the 11 ton excavator we have up the mountain, that thing, first of all, it's like twice the size physically, while having basically the same capacity, but
Yeah.
it only has like a couple more horsepower. I think that thing's only rated at like 86 horsepower or something.
Well, until you guys were talking about it in the parking lot, like the 10 MCR, like you would think is 10 ton, of course, which it is, but like I didn't realize that the 10 MCR was a 10 ton machine until you guys were comparing it to your excavator, just because it's so much smaller.
Oh yeah,
So
we'll
my
have to.
reference
packed.
point is your machine,
Yeah.
but it's like
It's
a toy compared to yours.
but
Yep.
but it's not like
yeah,
functionally.
but it
I
can do
mean,
the same
yeah,
thing.
I haven't used it in the same location yet or in the same application, but from what I've used it, it feels every bit as capable while being way more maneuverable.
And
Like
probably
way more
powerful.
stable. Way more stable.
more stable for its size anyway,
Yeah.
right? Like, and anything like, sure, I'm sure if we put a specific weight in a specific point and lifted it, the 11 ton machine would probably lift more than the 10 ton machine. Like physics is physics at some point. But that's like one tiny factor in the usefulness of it. And like, even if, or like I was talking earlier about reach, even if it doesn't have quite as much reach, it's so much easier to reposition the machine.
Yep.
Like,
and faster to reposition.
well,
it.
yeah, like a thing that I don't think we've talked about yet that's really cool about the Mecalac tracked machines is that because you have the skid steer undercarriage and because you have that massive travel speed, you can also just spin around in place with the tracks, which isn't really a thing excavators are good at. Normally, you have to kind of like back and forth a little, or put the bucket down and do a bucket turn.
Yeah.
Like you can make it happen, but the Mecalac, you can just do it if you need to. I mean, you don't generally need to,
But you have the power.
yeah, but you have the power to. And if you need to reposition just like, from over here to over there or whatever, like it takes so much less time that even if you have a little less reach, it doesn't matter because you can just, unless you're off the side of like a very set.
Yeah. And going up and down like steep grades,
Oh, yeah.
or getting on a trailer, like you're used to having to like put your bucket down and like push yourself up, or like put it way forward so that your weight is more where you want it.
Right.
Well, the Mecalac just doesn't really matter. You just fold your boom back and then you're like completely stable.
Mhm.
And that's another thing that's weird to get used to. Like if you're driving up a hill, you can't really do it with a normal excavator unless you're pushing or pulling or putting your boom weight somewhere else.
Right.
But you can just tuck it in and go.
Yeah. Yeah. I've driven that other excavator up and down the very steep hill of that driveway many, many
Sketchy.
times. And it's incredibly slow.
Yeah.
Like it's slow already, but then you go up that hill at absolutely full throttle. It'll just barely go up the hill.
And
Just
you're not even
power-wise.
using any other functions.
No other functions. Just
Yeah.
actually going up the hill is all it can do.
It was so funny because last time we were up there was my first time driving it up the hill, and because Ethan was driving the dump truck, and he was like, make sure you turn up the RPM to go up the hill. Like you'll need all the RPM. And I was like, okay, cool. And so I did what I thought was turning up the RPM all the way, and I was full throttle. And I was like, there must be a way to get more RPM. Like I was like crawling.
Creeping. Huh?
And then I was like, I turned the knob and I'm like, well, that's all of it.
Yeah.
And then at the top, he was like, yeah, it's really slow up the steep bit, isn't it? And I was like, it's like barely doing it level slow.
No, really,
honestly.
it barely will do it.
like empty too.
Yeah, if you try to push or haul anything, that said,
You did get that big rock up
yes,
there, which is
it's like
amazing.
a
You must have been
10,000-pound
going
rock. Yeah,
Crawl next to nothing speed, but you
Yeah.
made it somehow.
but that was carrying that rock. If I'd been trying to push it, it would have just run out of
yeah,
traction force. Like,
and mine will go fairly fast. For
Yeah.
what it is.
it's a 2-speed. It's a
But
small machine.
as soon as you start to turn,
It's all
nothing.
gone.
It's
Yep.
gone. It's over.
And the Mecalac,
Yeah.
especially with the 10, because it's so heavy, it does like lug a little bit.
Mhm. Yeah, it
But
slows
it's
down.
got the power to do it, which is
Yeah.
the crazy part.
Yeah, it slows down a little bit to
Yeah.
turn. It's not like, it's. We keep comparing it to a skid steer, like you like to say, Davey. It's a 22,000-pound skid steer. That isn't
There's-
something you can buy.
No.
But given all of that, it is. Which I did this weekend, jump back and forth between the two machines because I just used my skid steer to bring rocks down to where I was working because it already had the grapple on it. But the skid steer maneuvers quicker.
Yeah.
By all means, but it's half the weight.
Right.
And it can't do most of the things.
Yeah.
And still, it's, I don't know. It's just cool.
Yeah. And
it's so crazy that they figured out a way to get all this weight in such a small package, because the 6x6 dump truck is 22,000 pounds.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely colossal.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's solid steel for the most part.
Well, most of it's that giant counterweight on the back. Like,
Yeah.
that thing is like 8 inches thick
How
cast
much-
iron.
How much does that weigh alone?
the additional counterweight alone, which is the thing bolted on to the counterweight, which is an option, is 1,300 pounds.
just
I
the
don't-
additional one.
Just
yeah.
the additional one. I don't know how much
I would
Yeah.
bet it's probably like 4,000 at least, would just at a guess looking at it.
Yeah,
like
it's-
it's a
it's heavy.
huge hunk of metal.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And one of the other things, a lot of people in the US, since they've never seen a Mecalac before, they go, oh, this must just be some weird new thing from a new brand that's, unreliable and maybe we can't trust them. And it's a cool concept, but, it's some weird, strange machine. But it's new to the US, but Mecalac has been around, like I said, for a long time. And one of their first concepts, before they were even called Mecalac, but the original engineer of the first Mecalac made this thing it's called the sitting bowl. Maybe you can show it up on the
Yeah,
So
we'll
you
show
can- you
everything
can hold it up
we're
too,
talking
but-
about, and we'll describe it for people just listening as well.
basically it's like a wheeled excavator with giant tires that doesn't steer. It uses like skid steer principles to turn. And he wanted to make a machine that was as mobile as like a wheeled excavator, but had the stability of a track machine. Especially back then, wheeled excavators were really unstable. So what it does is all 4 wheels lift up, and this like platform lowers down.
Like a giant foot underneath it.
Yeah,
I
like
see the
4
platform
feet.
even better in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it lowers down and like picks it up. And then the machine actually rotates around that platform. So once you're up, you can still rotate and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you can work with like the stability of a track machine and go faster like a wheeled machine. And even in this like old concept from the 60s, which was actually a production machine, but he originally started designing
Is that
it.
the first Mecalac?
It's not a Mecalac, but
But
it
it's the
is.
same designer.
Yes. Yeah, it's what went on to become Mecalac essentially. And even this first one had the concept of having a loader bucket on the machine, so huge
Right.
capacities,
That's so sick.
That's super cool.
and the ability to have like use it like a crane. There's like this jib boom attachment that they have with it,
right.
and all sorts of cool stuff like that. And obviously, like that wasn't the most efficient concept because once you're up, you can't really move. You can just rotate, but it was still like pretty revolutionary for its
Right.
time.
It was something different.
Yeah.
Like
But it's the thing is, this guy had the idea. He's like, I want something that's super versatile, something that goes fast, something that is really stable, something that does the work of a forklift and an excavator and a loader and a crane, basically, all this stuff. And he wouldn't stop until he had perfected the design. And essentially what he ended up with is this. It's an older version of this, the 11CX. But that first Mecalac came out in 1984, and the same design principles are used today in the modern 12 series, which these machines are not really in North America yet. They're like more popular in France. I think they're just so different than what we have that the American brain just can't comprehend it.
you'll have that.
But I don't know if you want to look
That's
at
way too different than a Ford F-150.
yeah, it's
Not my
It's-
John Deere.
basically what it is it's like a articulated chassis, and it's got 2 sections. The back section has the engine, and the front section has the rotating assembly of an excavator with that same Mecalac boom design.
So you can't even get these in the States?
If you imported one, and if you really want one, like we can get one from France. It's like they're commonplace over there, more or less, but
Nobody's selling them here yet.
not stocking them.
Right.
Yes, I'm trying to sell one right now to a gentleman, but I really, really want to see and run a 12 because
Yeah.
all the Europeans, I've talked quite a bit with like Mekalac's demo operator, who to me is like the best Mecalac operator I've ever met, obviously, and he says the 12 is the best machine. And obviously, I think I have some bias because it's like the original design, and that's like more or less what they're used to with Mecalac over there.
Right.
But it's just so cool.
It looks epic.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah,
for
you
like
really live this life, Davey. You got the
Yeah.
little historical documents.
I'm kind of obsessed with Mecalac.
what?
Well, you're in the right business, man.
I know. Who would have thought?
It's like I have all kinds of Pokemon documents, but I'm just more trying to relive my childhood.
They're just
Yeah,
like
I haven't.
they're the only. I'm sure there's others, but to me, they're the only ones out there like inventing new classes of machine, like the crawler skid excavator. When the MCR came out in like 2008 or something, there's nothing like it.
Right.
It's just, but nobody was even thinking about doing something like that, and still nobody's competing with it because they'd have to like go completely from the ground up and redesign everything and put in hundreds of millions of dollars to develop something that's like the Mecalac because it's just
Right.
it's built
Well, and
different.
they'd have to work around all the patents and stuff.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be.
But
yeah.
it's just not really efficient. Like excavators are designed to dig. Mecalacs are designed to do everything.
Right.
Do
Yeah.
you
and
like land trains?
Yes.
Land trains are the coolest thing ever. I think my favorite rabbit hole to go down on YouTube is land trains.
Australia kind of still has land trains. I mean, they have really long semis and lots of trailers.
Yeah.
I mean,
So what
not
are you
the same.
talking about when you say land train, Edwin?
oh, there's these amazing land trains. Like I was just thinking about the 60s and 70s and
but-
inventions and giant giant tired trains that are meant to go over the land that was originally like going to connect the continental U.S. to Alaska. There was one that was really proposed, and it was going to help build a oil line. What do you call those oil lines? It's not
pipeline.
Pipeline. Yes. And they're just giant trains of a bunch of basically like
trailers.
Yeah, basically trailers, but they look like the Kanye West thing in the music video. That's like
a Sherp?
A Sherp.
Ah.
It looks like a bunch of Sherps hooked up to
I'm
each other.
really upset that the Sherp is the Kanye West thing.
Oh,
Sherps
man.
are so much cooler than that.
I know, but like if you look up like
No, I
Sherp
know what you mean.
exposure, it's Kanye West's music video followed by, now that it's in GTA 5 mods, GTA 5 content. And then after that, massive drop off, actual Sherp and people knowing about the actual device.
Right.
But
But basically a whole bunch of Sherps hooked together driving across the
is
desert.
what a land
or-
train is.
Yeah.
And just looking at this and knowing some things that Davey likes, I'm like, I bet he likes land trains. But they're basically like, it was such a good idea, and they were developing some in Europe and they were developing some in the US. And then there were also ideas of Arctic expedition land trains for a while, which are the coolest ever, but never really took off because it never really made financial sense to do this.
Right.
But you could essentially be building the road up front with all of the supplies on the train. And by the time you get there, you have everything you need to do the work that you need to do and go back and forth as many times as you want without, obviously, it's a lot of work to lay track.
Right.
And it could be somewhat temporary.
Yeah.
Like you can't lay track in someone's field, but you can get authorization to cross someone's farm to
With a land
build
train.
the pipeline.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like the coolest thing ever. And it's kind of like this era of, I guess it's a bit older, but like, I don't know. I just feel like there was this era of like, let's try some weird stuff, and like you could throw money at it.
So many of the like Arctic expeditions had just the weirdest vehicles built for them.
And it's just like, I just feel like there isn't that right now. Like it's so expensive to try and actually make something new.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just like get nostalgic when I see these old documents of some guy that's just like, I can build a better digger.
Yeah. Well, and companies are just so conservative now. Like, even if they have a bunch of money, like Cat's only going to make a real change when they're forced.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
a recent thing that like excavators have been implementing, and they're like, oh, check it out. We've got stick steer now. You can hit a button and you can drive with your joystick. And that's really cool, but it's also something Mecalac's had in skid steer mode since the first MCR. But it's like a big deal now. Like, oh, you can drive with your stick.
That's just not I mean, yes, it's innovation, but it's so tiny.
Yeah.
It's just tiny fractional innovation. It's like it's exactly the same machine, and it always had all these capabilities. They just didn't bother to make it do it.
Yeah.
It's like
Didn't
it's
have to
adding
change the design.
one extra button and like you know,
A couple of hydraulic
control
valves.
circuits. Yeah,
and
exactly. A couple extra hydraulic valves. Not even really. It's just an extra control to the hydraulic valves.
Yeah. They're like, oh, now it's 3% more efficient and has like 10 times more computers.
Yeah. Right.
So
Modern
these
innovation.
were the Australian land trains that Davey was talking about.
Yeah, no, those I know what they are. Yeah.
Still cool. Don't
Still
get me
cool.
wrong. It's like very impressive.
That's like the only type of land train that I think is like in
In use. Right.
today.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Australia has some crazy different regulations for what can be on the road.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Pretty
I have seen
insanely dope, right?
Yeah, I've seen one of the like engine things for that somewhere. I mean, not in person, but I saw
Also
a thing about it.
very, very expensive.
Oh, yep.
And I
See,
think there's only a handful left in the world.
Yeah.
Because
That
they
are-
all
yeah.
got scrapped for steel
That-
and stuff.
seems like a good use for the Napier Deltic.
Yes. We were talking about this engine when you were up last week.
Yes, my favorite engine ever made.
Yeah.
It's-
I've heard of that type of engine before, but I had
Yeah.
not heard of that one
You
before
want
you
to break
brought
it
it up.
down for the
Yeah.
people?
So it's a train engine. I don't remember what era it's from, but like 20th century sometime. It's a 2-stroke opposed piston triangular diesel engine. And it's hard to imagine, but it's basically like it's a 2-stroke diesel and the pistons oppose each other. So one cylinder has 2 pistons and they come together and an explosion happens and they both push out. And then that whole thing is in a triangular
format. With 3 crankshafts.
Yeah. And that like stacks. So they'll have like 9 or 12 cylinder versions of that engine and put them in trains back in the day. But I've always wanted to get one of these engines and like put it in something.
Oh,
like,
man. Could you imagine?
I've always thought it'd be like, I think I kind of originally started thinking about this because of the ginormous engine we pulled out of the fire truck.
Oh, yeah.
Which is not exciting in any way. It's just the biggest inline 6 gas engine I've ever heard of. It is like the size of this table and as tall, but it's a gasoline engine and it's only an inline 6. It's ridiculous.
And how much horsepower was it? It was
like 160. I couldn't even really find reliable information on it. It's such an obscure engine.
Could hardly move itself.
Speaking of the fire truck, there's one for sale right now that's the exact same year, the same body style, but it's 4-wheel drive, and it came with a Detroit diesel instead of that stupid gas engine. And it's for sale in Montana for like a reasonable price.
We could have just bought that and been better off than where we are now.
We could still just buy it and use it as a fire truck.
That's a 2-stroke diesel.
Yeah, it's a 2-stroke diesel, and it's 4-wheel drive, and it's like in really nice condition. I think they want like $6,000 for it. Which for what it is
those 2-stroke diesels scream. They sound so cool.
That's what's in our road grader too. Is a Detroit 671.
Yeah. Love those motors.
So
supercharged 2-stroke.
It's got to be if
seeing
it's
your
2-stroke
graphic
diesel.
of this train motor. What's it called?
Napier Deltic.
The Napier Deltic.
It's British.
I saw the diagram that you showed us, and then the next day I was like, "What went in between the triangle? Was it cooling or was it just cast iron? Like what was
I don't know,
in there?"
actually, because in the diagram it's just like empty, and then the pictures of the engine you can't see inside it. So
Yeah,
I've never seen one in person.
But you could theoretically run a bunch of cooling fins through there and have like air cooling going
because
through
if
it.
Maybe
the
that's
pistons
what
are
it is.
opposing, on the outside is clearly where the exhaust is going, right? Not on the inside. So
I think so.
there's room for something in the middle, and I just have to know what goes there.
But yeah, we got sidetracked with the fire truck thing. What I was going to say, because you were talking about using that engine on something. Ever since I saw that engine and knew I was taking it out of the fire truck, I was like, man, it'd be cool to build like a rat rod, sort of like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen theme, like that sort of steampunk looking, but with a ginormous engine.
Yes.
Like just something totally absurd like that. There's actually a guy building one right now with I think it's a Deutz V12.
Whoa.
But he's building a scaled up hot rod with it. So like he's using a semi-truck rear axle with like 40-inch tires, but he's building a whole like aluminum custom body for it and everything. And it's just got this ginormous V12 air-cooled engine in the front that's like out of a tank or a train or something.
Awesome.
And it's like, it's exactly what we're talking about, but it's just the coolest thing ever.
Oh, Steven, do you think you could look up
I'll
this
find
engine and let us know what is in between the triangle bit?
You could put a rotary engine inside there. Napier Deltic.
And he calls it the Dutzen barge.
The Dutzen barge.
Yeah. Here, I'll find some.
You're going to tip over your
Man,
sparkling
I
water
like
if you're not careful, Chris.
trains.
Here, just feel free to scroll through these pictures, Davey. It's like one of the more glorious machines you'll see.
What the heck?
Wow.
It looks like it has a turbine in the middle.
I think that's the air cooling intake because it's an old air cooled Deutz engine.
Cow.
Yeah,
That is a massive engine.
it's enormous. But the best part is he scaled the whole vehicle to match.
Yeah.
So it looks like a hot rod, but it like you could sit like 4 people wide in it.
Oh, really?
Well, have you
Yes.
you
Oh,
seen-
there's nothing in there.
Oh, there is nothing.
It's just, so it must be open for cooling and heat.
You could put a Mazda rotary engine in there.
5,500 horsepower, 88 liters.
88
Yeah.
liters.
Wow. Trains are
Train
so
power, man.
cool.
But yeah, you can see it's got this giant fan for the air cooling.
Well, have you seen Jay Leno's tank car? It's got like an insane sized tank engine.
This is kind of like
Yeah.
that. But Yeah, there's a photo of it more like close to where it's at currently with some fenders and bodywork and stuff on it.
Dang.
But yeah, this guy's been building this for years. It's just like this mad scientist dude somewhere in Europe, I think.
Wow.
But yeah, it's pretty cool.
What if we made a monster chopper even bigger with a train engine?
We're already pushing the limits of physics with that one.
5,500 horsepower.
I mean, if you can find a Napier Deltic for sale, I'll build something with it.
Please,
But-
you can find one. You just have to import a train from Europe. I've looked into it.
Of course you have.
Have you found one that exists?
Yeah, you can like.
Because it's an old school technology, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you kind of have to buy the train
That's the problem. Is
engine.
moving the train.
It's only like 100,000 pounds. So if you had a lot
Easy
of
to move
Mecalacs,
around.
you
Yeah.
could lift it up.
I mean,
Oh,
we could
the
probably.
weight. I thought you meant the cost. I was like,
No.
that's nowhere near as expensive as I would have thought.
No, it's probably. I don't think they're that expensive. I think moving it is the expensive part.
Getting a 100,000-pound machine shipped across the ocean.
You'd probably have to like take the engine out
Yeah.
before.
You'd
but
have
the
to you'd have to
engine-
go to Europe. You'd have to buy the train, find somebody that'll let you store the train nearby while you remove its engine, scrap the train, sell the rest for scrap, and then ship the engine home. Would be the only way you could ever
So you're saying it's possible?
That sounds very possible
Yeah.
to me.
build. Let me clarify though: building a motorcycle with it, not possible.
No.
We
Well,
have to build
okay.
something a little different.
Not
How much
plausible.
does it weigh, Steven?
Yeah, that's under
Where?
$1 million.
That is $714,000.
That's obscene.
Wait, for just the motor or the entire train engine?
Wow. That's a bit much.
Could you? Oh, wow. It is very, very large.
Yeah, I don't think you realize what
No, no.
77 liters means.
77
Edwin.
liters. That's that. Take the
On a
like.
two-stroke.
Yeah. I mean, like,
Oh, there's
yeah,
something
that's
right down there. It said something about. Oh my goodness! It's,
take the engine out of the limo, Edwin, and then use 10 of those.
Yeah.
I
10
don't
and a
know if
half.
it would fit in the garage door.
No,
It is.
Skier weighs 10,500.
It is
Oh, that's
roughly 10 feet 11 inches long, 6'2" wide, and 7'1" tall.
that would fit through the little garage
it's
door.
taller than Chris. Could you imagine?
That's
If you have
That
the
would be
right,
the coolest Mad Max machine ever,
Yeah.
though.
No,
Get
it
some
would-
like full scale monster truck tires for the rear,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then
have like a bigger truck, and then you have it mid-engine mounted, and you have 50-50 weight distribution too.
no, I'm thinking like you could you do mid engine, but like with the I think for the interesting scale and absurdity of it, you could put the driver's compartment like all the way in the back, engine in the middle, so like your rear like way back behind this giant engine, but like kind of up high. You could you could take those tires that we used for the trike, the front tire,
Yeah.
84-inch tall tire,
Oh,
or 80-inch tall tire, but dually them. So have
Oh.
4 of those
Yeah.
tires. You got a 7-foot tall tractor tire
You'd
for the
have
rears.
to distribute the weight of that.
Yeah, and then
thing.
the front tires could be like semi-normal tractor size tire. You know, I do that scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, we just need a shop that's 4 times this size, and you know,
Hey, I'm working on one.
a couple $100,000 worth of parts.
and a big crane to
And-
lift it around.
A Mecalac
Yeah.
could move most of the parts aside
yeah,
from the engine
probably.
itself.
Davey can
Wait, how
make
heavy did he
anything
say the
happen. He
engine
got
was?
us sponsored by
10,000
Mecalac.
pounds, so it could basically pick that up.
well, the official load lift ratings of the Mecalac are limited by the rating of the lift hook,
Mhm.
but the actual lifting force of the Mecalac, I think I could say this, is a lot higher.
Yeah.
So I
Could
can
you
say
how much you've lifted with a Mecalac before?
I have
Are you allowed to say
personally
that?
lifted 10,500 pounds with a 10 MCR off the side of the machine with no blade all the way up over the cab.
There you go. So that
And
could probably pick
That's
up.
the heheaviest thing I've tried to lift. I
Right.
haven't tried to lift anything heavier, so I mean,
Well, this
theoretically.
engine weighs about 10,000 pounds. We might have to. You might have to bring over your 11
Yeah.
to lift that engine,
Yeah.
but you know.
You just got to help
The
us
tank
figure
could
out
do
how
it.
to get the $700,000.
Well, we just
Oh,
yeah, that's
well,
that's going to be the hard part.
yeah.
For example, let me give you an example of a good deal we've done before.
Hmm?
This is a huge win on our part. So, you know, Lando Norris, the Formula One driver?
No.
Okay, well, he won the
I'm so
Drivers'
happy that you
Championship
don't know
last
anything
year.
about him.
But he's
Well, not him
really-
specifically, but
Really
F1.
famous. But anyways, he has a brand called Quadrant that is also a YouTube channel, kind of lifestyle apparel.
Which he started during COVID because they couldn't race and he was bored, so he started
Yeah,
a
Nice.
YouTube channel.
exactly.
Basically.
Yeah, that sums it up pretty good. And they have clearly a different type of operational budget than we do. So they were like, we want you guys to put Formula One wheels and tires on something ridiculous. So that when Lando is in the States for the races, he will be able to drive said thing and make viral content with it, basically. And we're like, great, amazing opportunity, this and that, all good, very nice. And basically, he started doing really well in the Drivers' Championship. So his sponsor obligation went astronomical, right? Because his time is all of a sudden way too valuable to be messing around with us in the desert. And so what we landed on doing was the collaboration video that ended up being putting the F1 wheels and tires on the K-Truck.
Didn't you also put him on the side-by-side?
We did later, but
Driving
that
a
was
Baldy?
yeah.
Yeah, and that's why what I was going to tell you what kind of deal we're looking for. So they fronted the bill for the wheels and tires, which was absurd, and we paid for shipping, which wasn't all that absurd.
It was absurd, but
If you had to pay for shipping on a train engine,
yeah,
I think it would be a lot different.
But it's
Yeah,
less
I
than
think so.
$700,000. I'm just saying, you find the brand/sponsor that pays for the engine, and we'll cover shipping if we get to keep the engine.
I think Davey's onto something though with the train thing, to buying the whole train, because Steven found that's the engine they're selling for $700,000 because, well, they're listing it for that because they can, because it's like, this is a piece of something that should be in a museum because no one has one.
Right.
Yeah, it should be in a museum.
But I'd be willing to bet you that the people with the entire train are probably desperate to get rid of. Who is buying used locomotives?
Right.
No one. I
that's
don't
the
know.
thing.
I can't answer that question, but
The
Oh,
other
no.
train-related idea I had was taking a whole train engine, not even taking the engine out of it, but turning it into a road vehicle.
yeah, I was thinking about that because you told me that idea the other day, and then I drove past a train engine and I looked at it and I was like, huh, it would look pretty cool with like, because they're already set up with like 4 axles basically. I mean, you obviously wouldn't use any of those axles, but like just replacing those with 4 ginormous axles with ginormous tires.
8x8, 8-wheel steer.
an
You
8x8.
probably have to have a lot of axles and tires to even be close to legal to driving on the road.
Yeah,
And you
even
would
then, I
need
mean,
the
it might
brake
be.
force of the best thing ever.
Trains do have really good brakes already.
Well, yeah, I mean,
There's electric motors. I mean, modern trains.
yeah.
Yeah, but they're on the tracks and they also take a very long time to slow. Like way
Well,
longer.
Well, but
Because
they're stopping the whole train.
Yeah,
Not
just
just, we're
the
talking
engine.
just the engine.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
only like 100,000 pounds.
But I don't know if just the engine could still have the brake force required to stop at a stoplight in traffic.
You might have to do some weight reduction.
I think it wouldn't be so much about the brake force. It would be more about the tires that could handle that
yeah.
on the ground.
The brake with
But
the
like
weight.
you said, yeah, it would have to have more than 4 axles just to be the weight per axle ratings
Right.
of modern roads. So you'd
Yeah.
have to put like it's not really feasible is the bottom line.
But
it
it
would
might
be
be
cool.
possible.
We drove a train engine to Alaska on public roads.
I don't think they're letting you through the border in that thing.
Oh,
No,
that's
probably
true.
not. Probably not. Or
Yeah.
onto a barge, or which would be the other problem. With the other
How much
option.
does this thing weigh?
Less than a fully loaded semi.
What is
Some
that in
semis,
kilograms?
I mean, like, it's not rare for a semi to be hauling over 100,000 pounds.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah.
that
we
goes on
need
the
a
road.
CDL
Why can't a
anyways.
train be on
With
the road?
with that that's like 5 axles usually.
Apparently, word's already gone around town that we need a CDL because one of my neighbors knocked on my door this morning and he was like, "Hey, sorry to bother you. Just quick idea. I heard that if you get your CDL in Montana, you don't need to do the $4,500 in-person classroom classes."
But wouldn't you have to live in Montana or something to
You'd have to have a Montana address.
to be able to
Get a P.O. box.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I guess
but
you
that's
could. There
how
are
we
loopholes.
license the
Yeah.
monster chopper.
right.
You know, you have a business in Montana that you have, I think it'd be the same
Careful.
thing.
Whistling Diesel got arrested for that.
Yeah, I guess we should be. Well, that was avoiding taxes. We're not trying.
We're
to
not
pay
avoiding taxes. We're just getting things registered that can't otherwise be registered.
Yeah, well, and for the CDL, we'd still be, doing everything correctly, just not having to go to the expensive in-person class that would have Ethan not here for a week because I think it's like a week of classes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like one of the major reasons that we haven't done it yet is because I don't. It's only a week, but like that's a lot of time.
Yeah,
Especially right now.
Yeah.
I guess we could do the Grindhard video that week. Ethan got his CDL, but we weren't allowed to film the classes, so I guess it doesn't make a video, does it?
Nope.
No.
You'll
Not
have
really.
that. Yeah.
That is funny though.
Yeah. Did you have any other Mecalac stuff you wanted to show us?
Well, there's a lot of cool Mecalac stuff.
I know you haven't shown us this one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the original Mecalac. It's the 11 CXI. Well, the CXI is like the improvement of the original. But
Oh yeah, without all this stuff on it, you can essentially use it as a little crane.
Yeah, you can
Wow.
take the bucket off. And the other cool thing, Mecalac, as far as I know, is the only excavator from the factory that has a lifting hook built in. Because
I saw that.
yeah, something we didn't talk about is the safety valves. So Mecalac has safety valves built into all of the boom, dipper, and bucket cylinder. So basically, like if you're lifting something and a hose breaks or busts or something happens in a normal excavator, it would
Comes
fall.
crashing to the ground.
And that's why you're not supposed to lift with a normal excavator.
People lift with them all the time,
Yes.
but they're not rated for it. They're not approved for
Yeah.
it.
And if you'll see, usually they have those hooks on the bucket because if the OSHA inspector comes by, go take that bucket off so that there's not a hook on the actual machine. You're
Right.
not really supposed to do that. Mecalacs, you can from the factory because of the safety valves. So if you
That's a pretty big deal. I mean, not for people like us who aren't like we're not a scale that has to deal with OSHA. We're just doing our own thing. But for like job sites and stuff, that's a huge deal to have a machine that is doing all these other jobs and can also like legally and safely lift overhead loads.
Yep.
Which
And,
is
especially with the forks. Like I don't think there's any manufacturer that would be like, oh yeah, you can put forks on our excavator because they don't make the load charts for that. They don't have the safety ratings for that. They don't have the safety valve, all that kind of stuff. Mecalac has had to go through a lot more to make their machine like compliant to do that from the factory.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting because everybody puts forks on skid steers and they don't have those kind of valves at all either. None of them
Yeah, I don't
do that I know
know.
of. I've never seen one with it. I mean, I'm sure maybe there are modern ones, but
Maybe they're built in deeper into the system. But like forklifts, like all
I mean,
forklifts
yeah.
have to have them.
right.
And
I mean,
cranes and
maybe skid steers. It's just because it's an aftermarket
What's
attachment.
the part of
so
the
they're
valve
just-
that makes it safer?
It's a different valve, and it's that silver thing that you see on the booms. And basically, it is like right connected to the cylinder, and it closes. So, like if your line breaks, you're not losing that pressure.
Oh.
And what makes it open is pilot pressure. So once you command the cylinder with the stick, pilot pressure goes to that safety valve and opens it up and allows flow to come through.
So if you're hooking something over something important or valuable or living, and
usually.
the line gets cut, it could fall, which is why it's not allowed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or if
Or-
it just
or the line
blows out or
breaks, or-
whatever.
yeah.
I mean,
like,
yeah,
it
hydraulic
happens.
lines blow up all the
But
time.
Yeah.
So the Mecalac, if it lost its hydraulic, it would be
It would hold.
It would not.
locked in position. So, and that's why at your dealership you can park with them like in the air all crazy.
Yeah. I've actually left that. That machine is still up like that. It hasn't moved an inch. That iOS 7 with the
wow.
bucket like all the way up.
I thought you were
And-
just flexing because we were in town.
To be clear, it's still not recommended to like just leave machines like that hanging up because it's always possible that like if there's a little piece of dirt in the safety valve and it doesn't close all the way, eventually over time it's going to lose pressure.
Right.
But even if there's a little piece of dirt in there and you blow a line, it's still not going to fall.
It might
It
be
might
moving
just
an
be
inch.
really slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An
So
inch per
that's
hour or
Jeez,
something.
They thought of everything.
Yeah.
Is that common in like regular, like if you were to buy a French brand regular excavator, would it have these safety
I don't
things?
know of any other excavator that has all these safety valves built in.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Also, would imagine there's not a whole lot of French excavator brands either, for that matter. Mecalac might be like the only French excavator brand.
Yeah,
I mean-
I'm actually not sure. I couldn't speak to that, but I don't know of other. I think there's other French equipment manufacturers. I know that, but Mecalac's definitely the coolest.
Clearly.
They got the street
But
cred.
Mecalac's also like in a pretty unique part of France. They're in Annecy, which is in the Alps and like 30 minutes from Geneva, Switzerland. So they're like right across the border with Switzerland. And some other really cool, unique machines come from Switzerland, like the Menzi Muck, which I don't know if you guys looked up, but it's a spider excavator.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those. Those are
They're
really cool.
Awesome. That probably like wins the prize for the coolest excavator ever made. But they're also like $1 million. So
Yeah.
Wow.
And Edwin, you probably, if you haven't seen one, or the people listening, like it has 4 tires. Well, some of them actually only have 2 tires, don't they?
yeah, the bigger ones usually have 4
Yeah.
tires, but some of them just have spikes.
Yeah.
Like
But each
legs.
tire is on its own hydraulic arm that can travel up and down a massive distance. So it can like level itself on a hillside, or like halfway up like an 8-foot embankment. Half the excavator can be up there and the other half can be down at the bottom, and the cab is level. Like it does crazy stuff.
Wow.
yeah, they're for like super extreme terrain, like that.
Oh yeah, that's super cool.
Yep.
Yeah, those things
Wow.
are really cool.
They're awesome. When we did the Oregon Logging Conference, our booth was right next to Menzi Muck.
Nice.
It was awesome. I was like, yes, the 2 coolest machines next to each other. Yeah, they
That's
work
awesome.
on the sides of mountains. Like, look at that.
Yeah, I would have thought that was AI if you just showed
Mm-mm.
me.
Yeah, and those they also have like an extendable boom
Yes.
too, which is
And they're
like a
completely different
telescopic.
boom designs. Like all the boom is straight. They don't have any curves.
yeah,
But they
Wow.
like telescope out, and they have to do that because they like push
pull
themselves.
themselves up a
Because
hill. Yeah,
When you're going up an incline that's like, I don't know, however crazy
Yeah,
steep they
45
are,
degrees or more
Yeah.
or whatever.
you have to push and pull yourself up that. There's no way you have enough traction.
Nothing,
So-
even with tracks,
yeah.
nothing has.
and then
enough
they
traction.
have like extra like spiky outriggers on the feet that come down and like dig into the ground.
Wow.
So cool. Yeah. I
Well,
want one.
Well, we
those are
don't-
those are pretty cool, but
They are
I'd
really
still rather
cool.
have the Mecalac.
Yeah. Well, the Mecalac is much more useful because
Yeah.
it does everything. The
This
Mec-
is like
That thing's
just
built for
useful
incredibly
Yes.
specific, extreme
Yeah.
situations.
like the
like
Mecalac is
huge strip mining.
No. Nobody's using
No.
small excavators for huge mining.
Well, no, I mean it's just like on a crazy pile. Like where would you find a pile like that even?
Oh, I don't know, but it's more for like repairing roads in the Alps, or like like
Oh,
not
like
even
a-
repairing, but like
a
doing maintenance on the
landslide.
side of a road.
I
or
know.
like,
Yeah, they use
I-
them a lot for road washouts and stuff, where big washouts happen.
I know a guy who does like strictly like power line
Mhm.
repairs and like putting power lines up, because a lot of times they're like at the top of mountains and places that you just can't even
Can't
walk.
get stable.
So
Whoa!
Now that is a machine that'll go places.
places you can't even walk
Okay,
machine.
that might be my new favorite.
You can get like used ones of these from like the 90s for pretty reasonable prices. Like an A91 is like the older model, and I've seriously looked at buying one before. I just don't really need one.
Yeah.
But
You just need.
there's
to
a lot of
flex it
machines that
out.
I want to just be like, this is so cool.
Yeah,
Just have a machine collection.
fair.
Just
Yeah.
Fair.
The-
Buy a lot of Mecalacs from Poland.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we probably need to have you back on for Mecalac Part 2. We don't normally
Yeah.
go this long, so I'm worried about our record length. But I do need to tell the
Worried. I mean,
people-
that sounds like a good thing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we're
it's-
breaking Mekalac's breaking records, and we're here breaking
Yeah,
records.
But I do need to tell
The thing that
My-
you started at the
yeah
beginning
my
of the
story that
Please.
happened this morning, and oh man, it's just so hard to tell in the correct order. I need you guys to like take a breath and close your eyes and just come into this conversation with an open mind.
All right. I feel like that's what I usually have to do anytime you start telling a story, to be honest.
This one's gonna be
no.
hard for you.
Oh no.
Let's-
I'll let you finish. I'll let you finish your story, and then
Okay.
and then I'll tell you what I think about it.
Okay. So, I'll start with the very easily believable part. In my high school, Sandpoint High School, the Hicks are like the cool kids, right? So I was not a cool kid, and I had my friends, Rem and Lane, and we're the best friends, and we skated and we did all of the weird stuff that we did. And as a byproduct of that and wearing like bright orange skinny jeans and playing my ukulele in the hallway and just doing my own thing, I was like very secluded from like who everyone else knew in school, what everyone else did in school. I was in my own little weird lane because of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like for like full like mental image, like the Hicks would just like throw apples at people like me. Because
Apples?
they just had apples ready to go from their farms. I
What?
don't know. I had to be nailed with an apple like all the time for
That's
sure.
funny.
So yeah, I was in a different like kind of space than like your normal like social people who were like, you know, doing normal social things or whatever, going to the events and the clubs and the sports.
Clubs. Dude,
What
you know where we
clubs?
live, right?
Well, like, you know, there was even like a chess club or
That kind of club.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
no,
okay.
not like
Well, when you said going to the clubs, I was like, what?
like
we
the
don't
high
have
school
those.
clubs
around
you know,
here.
like
Yeah.
there's even like the tennis club. Like you could still be on the tennis club even if you weren't in the tennis team, like, you know, that kind of thing. I wasn't
Yeah.
a part of any of it is what I'm trying to say. So there's all
I'm with
these
you. I didn't go to
things-
high school, so I wasn't a part of any of it.
Exactly. But there are these like things that like 90% of the high school would be totally aware of that's different than what I'm totally aware of
Sure.
because of the circles I ran in or whatever. So I have certain things where I'm like, I don't really have anyone to like check in with to be like, is this really the way that I remembered it? Like, did they really put a deer in the bathroom for the senior prank? You know, it's like,
I mean,
or did I see
that's
that
very
in an
plausible.
episode of South Park? You know, like some of these things I just don't really remember, and I don't really have someone that would like know. You know,
Your reality is uniquely malleable.
exactly. And the deer one was for
Basket
sure real, and everyone at my school knows that that was real because you don't forget these things.
Sure.
And so, but there are things like that I just don't know to have really anyone to confirm with, right?
Yeah.
So this morning, I go to Joel's, and that's our local burrito spot. And Veronica's there, who works at Joel's, and I went to high school with. She was in one grade below me, but still a lot of the same trends or things that happen in school, like she's aware of. She was social. She has like still friends with everybody from high school and like, you know, all like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was trying to describe to her what basket people were this morning because she saw my shirt.
Oh,
It
dog.
is about the basket people.
It is about the basket people, which is
Fair.
why we need to come into it with an open mind.
Uh-huh.
Because we have some like maybe our first evidence ever in some kind of way, but just, you know, open mind here.
With a given definition of the word evidence. But yeah.
Yeah. So what had happened was, as I walk in, I'm wearing this shirt that just says basket people on it. I didn't give her any context, nothing. She was like, oh, is that like a scary movie or a metal band? And I
It
was
does
like,
look like it could be
It's like
either.
a metal band.
Yeah,
exactly.
it does.
And so all that I said, because I remember a girl at high school telling me about this story, and I just didn't know the extent of it, or if anyone else had heard this story, or if anyone else had any like similar kind of weird experiences back in these woods, you know, because like there is a history of what's the nice way to say cults, communes, and Chris knows a lot about because he was here when a lot of the cults were here. And so that part is real. We could say there were cults here.
Yeah.
Cults and communes of various
communes,
types.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so basically, I was thinking of this story that I had heard in high school, and I was trying to think of a way to say it. And I was like, oh no, it's like you know, this area and how like maybe people at school talked about how, and I paused because I was thinking of the politically correct way to say midget and I couldn't think of it at the moment. And so I paused before I said a single thing. And she said, are you talking about it wasn't community. It was not the gathering. It was like, she said, yeah, no, it was community. She was like, are you talking about that off-grid midget community?
Oh.
And I was like, that's actually what I was going to talk about, but I paused and she
Filled in the
said
blank.
that. And I was like, wait. So I kind of remember people talking about this at high school. She was like, everyone talked about it. I used to go driving around looking for it. And I was like, and where? I didn't even say where we are. I was like, and where did you go driving around looking for it? And where, like, what did you hear from like being like someone who actually talked to people about what people saw in the woods around here? And she said that she knows, like, she was like, everyone talked about it at school. And there was like a community somewhere deep in the woods that they didn't go into town. They were totally off grid and they were all small, and that some people in our school had stumbled upon them.
Or claimed to have.
And so I was like, I know a girl who was in my math class, and she was also like in the kind of like, I don't know how like the non-social people find each other, but we found each other.
Mm-hmm.
And she said that she went up a road and a bunch of small people were smashing her car with sticks. And then like she had come down from this road and like, you know, no one really believed her, but her car was all like smashed up in like weird ways. Like it would be hard to do like side impacts to your car if it wasn't being hit by a stick.
Maybe she hit her car with the stick.
I mean, that could have.
Yeah.
There is that.
There's, you know, I mean, that's a
option.
plausible explanation.
Yeah, but that brings in the stick part of the conversation is these people have the sticks. And so she hadn't heard anything about like the stick part specifically, but I told her, I said, the people from school that have firsthand experience that you still communicate with, it's really important to me that you ask them more about these stories and then you tell me what they said without my input. And then I didn't even tell her what I thought basket people were, because I'm curious what she can gather from people without my, you know, input on what I think that I've seen in these woods. It's just kind of weird that all these things seem to be lining up, right?
No, not at all. Also, it doesn't remotely explain your definition of basket people. Like, those are two completely different universes.
Well,
you explain basket people as like interdimensional beings that look like the things from Star Wars
well,
Ewoks?
and have no faces. No, not
no,
Ewoks. The
they're
other
bigger
one,
than
Jawas.
Jawas.
Oh,
but they do have like kind of like you know, not cloaks, but like material on like covering their arms and stuff. Like I've never seen like their arms or hands or anything like that.
Or faces because they're covered in baskets, apparently.
Yeah.
But my point is,
if you
you describe them. You like I'm just your own descriptions. One of these is an interdimensional being that can disappear at will, and the other is a community of little people who happened to live in the woods somewhere around here, supposedly with actually no proof whatsoever.
But
those are two different things.
so I've never seen a basket person disappear or anything like
No,
that.
but that's what you claim about them. That's
because
your
I'm just like
world.
thinking like how could they be there but also not be there, and that's one of the maybe theories. But it also could be a community of small people that go around with sticks.
And you think that they live in our neighborhood, and Chris has lived here since the 70s and has never heard or seen of them.
Okay, let's be honest. How long have you been able to like truly see, Chris?
They're not that
Like,
little, Edwin.
well, no, like just at what age? Because well, he was saying about the red lights and the deer with the collars. You know,
Huh?
Yeah, I saw one last night.
tracking
he
collars
saw
on deer.
red lights floating in the woods, and then he figured out that they were deer. But like,
There's
Could've
deer that have LED collars on them.
A little tracking.
but I don't
collar
know.
thing.
Like if you're at your place and you're looking in the woods and you're not wearing your glasses, like how much are you seeing? You know
no,
what I
no,
mean?
no. I'm not talking about him personally seeing them. The fact that he would have never even heard of this community of people if they actually lived here.
Oh, well, that's why I wanted to ask Chris is like, have you heard of anything like this? Like not the basket people per se, but a community of small people.
Well, I've heard of communities of people that were off grid. In fact, there was one
Just up the road, yeah.
just up the road around here from back in the.
But they weren't.
But they
midgets.
weren't midgets. They weren't small people. I mean, yeah, some of the women were little, but most of the people were normal size.
Did they have their kids like protect the property with sticks or anything of that nature?
Not that I ever knew of, and
I mean,
they weren't into baskets either. So
it doesn't seem that unreasonable to me that just like there's a community of little people living off grid.
Yeah.
Like that part of it
That's not
seems
impossible.
like that's definitely possible.
But
That's not
going
that
around
weird.
with sticks, like literally, I told the designer what I thought they looked like.
Maybe they were just a bunch of hooligan kids, like dressing up and like causing ruckus.
That's
I mean,
equally plausible.
and
Yeah.
if that was still happening, then that could be what I've seen. I mean, just like I'm just saying that, like, apparently it was the talk of the town. I just wasn't like part of the overall social group of high school, so I didn't really know that this was a thing people talked about. Certainly went driving around looking for, because all I knew was this
you know
one
what
girl
else?
who also didn't talk to a lot of people had this experience.
You know what?
And I know the road that it was on. I don't want to say it to like, you know,
Yeah.
dox us, but like it is very close to here.
You know what else? People go around driving and looking for with in all seriousness, and yet there is no evidence. Bigfoot, every other cryptid, like
Yeah,
just
but like
because.
a lot of people have seen Bigfoot and talk about Bigfoot.
But that's not evidence. So
Well, yeah, I'm not saying that I have evidence.
No,
I'm
no.
just saying that maybe I know some other people that have seen
my
what I think are basket people.
my point is that a bunch of high school kids driving around in the woods looking for something is not evidence that it exists.
But it is evidence that there is some kind of small biped with sticks.
No,
in
it's
this-
not. It's evidence that there's people that believe it. Evidence for belief is not the same thing as evidence for existence.
were you guys eating mushrooms?
There's evidence, there's a lot of evidence that people believe in Bigfoot. Huge amounts of evidence. But that's not the same thing as evidence that Bigfoot exists.
You know, some people claim that Bigfoot is an interdimensional being. So
Well, yeah,
maybe
most
you're onto
people
something.
do. But and to answer Chris's question, the reason why I never took my friend's example as fact is because there may have been some usage of things of that nature, and so I never took that story as like a good example of proof to bring on the podcast. But if it was the talk of the whole high school, then clearly there's something bigger picture going on.
Or teenage kids are really gullible and susceptible to stories
yeah.
You know,
and adventure and mayhem.
you know who would love to hear this?
Huh.
We have one of the biggest Bigfoot festivals in this area. It's in Medellin Falls. It's like huge. And this huge community of people who like Bigfoot get together and they set up booths. They talk about Bigfoot. They go Bigfoot hunting. They show videos. They do all this stuff. You should present your basket people case there.
Yeah,
Maybe
but
you
like-
get some
Don't
followers.
encourage
Yeah.
him.
But the thing is, it's there's no way it could be Bigfoot because they're exact opposite. Like
Yeah,
what
but
No,
I'm
he's not
talking
saying-
No,
about
I'm
he's
not
not
saying it
saying
is
it is
Bigfoot. I'm
Bigfoot.
saying that's a good community because those people might be like, yeah, midget Bigfoot. That's what
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, like maybe there's like children Bigfoot go around with sticks harassing high schoolers looking
Bigfoot
for
babies.
Yeah. No
Bigfoot
one really
seeds.
talks about Bigfoot babies. I guess well, why would Bigfoot babies be covered in sticks? That
Camouflage.
doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense.
camouflage.
All right, well, come over here, Steven. Steven's going to tell us the only convincing Bigfoot story he's heard because clearly we're in durability testing our cameras right now.
We're durability testing Ethan is what we're doing.
Just my sanity.
Yeah.
The only convincing Bigfoot story I've ever heard, because I've never seen any evidence. I've been way out in the woods. Like, you guys all know this. The only convincing story I've ever heard was when I was hitchhiking to Montana once. This guy picked me up and he's like, yeah, like, I've definitely seen Bigfoot tracks. And he's like, I could see where it put down its little one. Because then all of a sudden there's a smaller set. There's like this little scuffle and then a smaller set of the same footprints in the snow next to it. And this guy was kind of not to be messed with. He also had a wolf in his back seat. Anyway, yeah, it's Montana. That was also my most
real
interesting.
wolf?
Well, it was like, yeah, like he's like, don't look my dog in the eyes. It's like
we have one of those right up here in the
It's
neighborhood.
part wolf, not
Yeah.
100%.
Okay,
like
yeah,
50%
yeah,
or whatever.
yeah. It was like
you ever
a
heard that
wolf
thing
dog.
howl, you would know it was a wolf.
There is people who like domesticate packs of wolves. It's kind of scary.
Wow. Packs
Have
of
you seen
them?
that?
I have not.
I think there's this one lady who has like this whole pack of wolves that she's like, I think it's like up in the Medellin Falls area.
Man, what is going on in Medellin
Oh
Falls?
Yeah.
man, a lot of crazy stuff.
That water.
There's a movie that just came out about that like crazy like white supremacist dude who had this like crazy cult. What's it
In-
called?
Like,
And he was in Medellin Falls.
Huh.
Yeah, which is like a tiny little town in Washington, like way up in
Like, basically Canada.
northeastern-
Yeah,
yeah,
it's-
northeastern Washington.
It's
in the
like the
middle of nowhere.
Bonners Ferry of Washington.
Yeah, but like 10 times smaller.
yeah.
There's like
It's
200
tiny.
people there now. It used to be bussing.
We
but
should go there sometime, Edwin.
That's really cool.
Go do your next 100-mile challenge there. Maybe you'll see Bigfoot.
Well, Steven said he's down to camp out with me and look for the basket people for a night. I just got to figure out how to live stream a night vision camera.
I'm sure it's been done before.
Oh, yeah, definitely. For sure. I mean, it's doable, but I just got to figure it out, because,
You need some infrared cameras
the thing
too.
is about the Bigfoot theory is I just haven't got to, because I only saw the basket people the one time and I definitely couldn't see their feet. So
So they might have big feet.
they might. I mean, shoot, I should talk to these people in the.
Well, but I think Davey's point, Edwin, was more to the fact that it's a community of people that will take you seriously.
Yeah.
That's the point. Not that there is a Bigfoot basket people connection.
Yeah.
It's just that those people would like to hear your stories.
Yeah. Well, next
I-
time I go to Joel's, which will be tomorrow, I'm going to ask for like maybe if there's some people I can talk to that used to be like really talking about it, or if anyone had firsthand experience or.
And an extra burrito, please.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, fair
Joel's
enough.
does have the best burritos.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So good.
Mm-hmm. Best burritos, man. So if you want to come camping with us when we go for the hunting, I don't know if you want to join, but you're welcome to.
Love to look for basket people.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that too.
I don't think they're dangerous. I didn't get that impression, but I do think that they don't want to be seen for sure.
We're gonna need some high tech.
Yeah. Because like when I saw them and I was like, guys, look, they weren't like running away or anything. They're just maintaining their speed until they were off in the vista. So
Guys, it was only Steven that was there with you. You said guys, plural?
well, no, Stephen
Which is
and
Steven.
Will.
Oh, Will was
Will
here
was
then
there.
too?
I
I
asked
forgot
Will
that.
about the basket people
Really?
a couple
What did he
weeks ago.
say?
Well, Edwin kind of like sees things sometimes, and basically what he said. So
I mean, he's not wrong. Edwin will admit to hallucinating
Oh yeah,
all the time.
it happens sometimes. There was one day that I was just hiking and I saw Smokey the Bear like floating in a cloud.
what?
Well, not
But-
like a cloud in the sky, like a cloud right next to me, like as I was hiking. But
Vividly?
I was vividly for sure. But I was extremely dehydrated, hungry, and exhausted.
Oh, no.
But-
oh, no.
I will say, I know I say this every time, but very, very much completely 100% sober for all of these situations.
But it,
Oh, we know that. It doesn't change the fact that you might have been hallucinating.
Well, yeah, but people listening would
Oh,
probably
yeah.
think,
Yeah.
given, but
Fair
it's
enough.
like I just have like a very visual, and I have been tested, and I do have an extremely visually powerful brain.
visually powerful.
That's
That's a good
my
description. Edwin.
psychiatrist
Very
said
good
it's my
description.
special superpower.
yeah. It's the official diagnostics. Like you are very visually powerful.
I'll show you the paperwork, man. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm very visually powerful. My brain
just the way you
is.
said it.
Yeah. That's probably not the way that my, doctorate psychologist put it,
Probably
but
not.
Yeah.
I'll bring in the paper for the next podcast. It says something about my brain is strong in the visual areas.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Visually powerful.
there you go.
Visually
I don't know.
powerful.
Should we call Will, see what he says if he answers?
No.
Okay. Well, next time when it's not 2 hours in.
Get him remote.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we'll get him. We'll just call him and be like, all right, your words exactly.
Now, that would be a good test.
Look forward to that.
Or don't. It's up to you.
You
Basket
guys
People
can
Part
see
8
why I needed to
coming
wait
soon.
until the serious stuff to talk about this because
Uh-huh.
I just like, I don't know, it was weird. It was like I don't have a lot of support in this theory around here, believe it or not.
Really?
And this morning,
Shocking.
without me saying anything, she said something that was maybe like in somewhat
Adjacent.
support. It was the most support I've ever had in the basket people theory, so we'll put it that way.
Must be true.
Must be true. So thanks for checking out the Set and Bent podcast, guys. Let's build a train car.
And if you want to learn more about Mecalacs, hit up Davey at his dealership.
Yeah.
oh, yeah. And
quick
he
thing.
ships all over the country.
I know it's confusing. We just changed our name. We used to be MVCO Machinery. We're now Fulcrum Machinery. So
Easier to say, easier to remember. Fulcrum.
Yeah.
Welcome.
We'll have it in the description below. And when he changes his Instagram URL, which he should, we'll have
I
that.
think it's changed now. It's
Oh,
updated.
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
we got a new
heck
website,
yeah.
Instagram, everything.
Bada boom. Let's go.
Well,
Check
thank you.
it out.
Thank you, Fulcrum.
Thank you. Thanks for
Yeah.
making
Thank
it
you,
happen.
Grinder.
Yeah.